Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It's
Hope
early.
everybody's doing great on this rainy Saturday here on the East Coast.
Yes, it is horrible.
Right? I wonder how many states are affected by how much rain there is coming in.
I don't know,
S-
but it's cold and it's wet, and I hate it.
this is one of those days where you don't want to leave your house regardless of what you have to do. You're like, work, I don't
Mm-mm.
even, I have PTO.
I'm just gonna stay underneath my blanket, and this is where we're gonna reside.
So, for those of you that are unfamiliar with either Sheena or I, we have our own weekly podcast called Ying Yang the Podcast, and we've decided to expand it a little bit into Saturday mornings for current events with Coffee with the Maries
Mhm.
because current events was taking up, a week every month of our time. And it's something we wanted to cover a little bit more of. We were only covering like two or three things a month, and we wanted to cover two or three things a week. So we've expanded our podcast for everyone to Coffee with the Maries so that we could do this, but we could do it in the morning while y'all are getting up and getting ready for your weekend. I
Yay!
don't know how many of you got up this weekend though, because I don't blame you. It's rainy, it's cold, sleep in. Catch us later though. Make sure you still watch. So we are still going to um, always make sure that we play our disclosure at the beginning of this because this is still an opinion based podcast sponsored by Ying Yang the Podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
Ying Yang the podcast does not own rights to any background music or noise you may hear. This podcast is completely opinion based and may include adult content, adult language, and verbiage not suitable for any underage viewers. Information found in this podcast may not contain exact accuracy as it is opinion based. Please listen at your own risk.
All right. So, more or less, what our disclosure explains to you each week is that this is an opinion based podcast. Of course, we're going to go over current events. However, we are just two individuals. Neither one of us are meteorologists. We're not scientists. We don't work in a detective field.
No,
We we think we do, but that's just how women are in general.
right.
Um, you never mess with a girl because she's always gonna have a best friend that's a secret detective. Um,
At least one of them.
right? If not more. I mean, I don't really have a friend I can't call and say, girl, I need some dirt.
Choose eye
So
contact.
right. Um, it's a little bit easier for me. I mean, the only person I ever needed dirt on is Miss Sheena Marie's brother, so it was easy for me. I just asked his sister. Um, but so we don't. It's not like we're doing like a bunch of digging or anything like that. These current events are things that we are literally pulling up from different websites across the web. Late Fridays, and then we're just discussing them Saturday. Typically, we don't even know exactly what we're discussing until that day, which is why we don't post it. And might not always be the current events you want to hear. But if there is something you want to hear, all you have to do is make sure you send it to me by 8 p.m. on Friday nights, and we will make sure we work it into the podcast. So you can just send that right over to Ying Yang the Podcast. If you go to yingyangthepodcast.com, there's a Coffee with Marie section. There's also a section on there now where you can ask to be a guest if you are a specialist, if you're a meteorologist, or you're a detective and you want to talk about something, we will welcome you on. We'll still probably have opinions and you still probably won't like them, but we don't care. We'll still bring you on the podcast and
Right.
argue with you there live.
Debate.
Right. Right. Debate, not argue. Debate.
Hmm.
It's debate when you're on a podcast.
Yes,
It's
we're debate.
argue when you're in Walmart. Um
Right.
this is the proper place to have those conversations. So um because this is our first one, not just because this is our first one, but because this is kind of like an introduction. We only have two stories that we're going to cover today, but before we cover those stories, I was actually just telling Sheena that I realized how out of touch her and I are with the actual news of the world.
Yeah.
And I promise, I don't do resolutions, but my goal this year is going to be to start paying attention to the news because I never realized how much is going on in the world that I just don't know about.
I
I
didn't know
found
either.
out like 30 minutes ago that there was an entire earthquake and tsunami in Japan on the 1st, and that half of the population of that city is still missing. And I
That's
was like, well, how come no one told me about this? Where is this on TikTok or Facebook or anywhere?
I didn't know either.
Um, and even when I looked up current events for the last week, no one said anything about a tsunami in Japan.
You would think
Um,
that would be on national news.
right. Well, and that's my thing, like I was like, let me see if I can find a really big story. And then my biggest thing, y'all, is I never want to just bring y'all negative information. So there'll always be at least one feel good story in our events. That's me and Sheena are very big on balance, which kind of the whole yin yang thing kind of comes from that. So, but when I pulled that up this morning, I only found out because I was reading a different story and kind of looking over the facts to make sure I could provide them correctly to y'all. And all of a sudden, an ad popped up and was like, tsunami in Japan. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, this is a fake ad. Clicked on that bad boy. No, there was really a tsunami in Japan on January 1st, and nobody's talking about it.
It's welcome in the new year water style.
I get you right. They just wanted to have a water party. That was horrible. That was horrible. We are horrible people.
I know we're making light. It is not. We're not that horrible. We
We
do
aren't, but
to.
that's
Yeah.
the point of our podcast, though, is and that's the kind of humor you're going to get out of us. We're not mean people by far, but
Hmm.
humor is humor, and I feel horrible for the people in Japan, but what it comes down to is how do you prepare for that? I know how to prepare for an earthquake. I know, well, prepare. You can't really prepare for an earthquake. You can't tell when an earthquake's coming.
No.
Um, but if an earthquake starts, I know what to do. What do you do if a tsunami starts?
Get your
Like,
rain boots.
oh, oh, sorry, my eyes just watered really bad. It looks like I'm crying. I promise I'm not crying, y'all. Um, but that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't know how to prep for a tsunami. I live out here in the mountains. Will a tsunami even affect me?
No. If it
Like, am
does,
my elevation too high?
yes.
Okay, if
If
my
it's not,
elevation's too
then
high,
I'm. That's a lot of water.
well, listen, if I'm safe from the tsunamis, then if a tsunami comes, get your rain boots on, Sheena, and you and Adam can just jump. Well, and your significant other can just jump in a raft. Like the raft from like Huckleberry Finn or something, where it's like 8 boards taped together and a long stick to. you just,
Where are we
you just
going?
to me because I'm safe from the tsunami. Y'all just raft down here. Mm.
Oh my God! It's gonna be what is a 5 hour drive. It's gonna take us like 2 weeks in a raft.
Yeah, well, and you're gonna have to work around all the cars. Some you might be able to float over top. If it's a Versa, you could probably go over top of it. If it's an Escalade, you might have to go around the top of it.
Right.
So, uh, I'm telling y'all, there's perks to living in the mountains, man.
Mm. It's nice up there. It's just cold.
Agreed. Um, yeah, we can throw the cold away. I'm tired of fighting with snow threats and
Hmm.
ice threats and rain. I don't
Yeah,
how
I
is
don't
there
have enough
so much
blankets.
rain? So when I was little, and I don't know about other people, and this is about to make me sound really stupid, but I have a very creative imagination. I have since I was a kid. But when I was little, because they teach you about like I forgot what it's called. Like, when rain falls and then it evaporates back up into the sky and re-
Precipitation. I know I'm saying it right.
precipitation. There we
Yeah,
go.
I'm saying it wrong, but you get my drift.
um, so when I was little, I used to get really mad anytime it would rain because I'd be like, I don't even remember all the water evaporating. This doesn't make any sense. How is there so much water back in the sky? um, as an
Okay.
adult, I still feel that way.
Let
I
me see.
mean, it's been raining for a couple days. We haven't had time to get no water back up in the sky. It needs to go ahead and stop now.
It's gonna rain some more, girl.
That's it. I'm getting some rain boots and a lifeboat, and
Mhm.
we're gonna create our own little tsunami out here eventually with all this water.
Don't forget your umbrella.
Girl, I don't know why, but I just pictured you on that little raft holding an umbrella and a big old stick.
With my rain boots.
I don't know why, but in my mind, your rain boots are purple too. So you want to have on some purple rain boots?
That'd be dope.
We got to create that picture somehow. Okay, guys.
Okay, serious note. Let's go.
All
We
right.
got
So
too
our
busy.
first story today is, of course, a serious story. And again, if you're going to take any offense to any humor that may come out, this isn't the podcast for you. We're very controversial people. We There's a lot of dark humor, but we can take a couple of things seriously when we need to. To start off, I do want to say to the victims and their families in this following story, our heart goes out to you. Um, and
Mm.
that's the most serious you're going to see us be on this podcast at all, because we're not serious people.
And it's too
But
early for serious.
oh, it is. My brain can't even think serious all the way yet. I am
Mm.
only a half of a cup of coffee in. So,
I'm only like two
um,
sips, so you're not. You're not.
oh, I'm ahead of you then, girl. You got to catch up.
I
You're going to
know. I
need this
really
little
do.
bit of extra.
Look, look, yarn.
So yeah, our first story is going to be about the little bit that we know about Dylan Butler. For those of you that don't know who Dylan Butler is, Dylan Butler was the person at Perry High School in Iowa shooting. He was the 17-year-old that walked into that school around 7:30 in the morning on the 4th and opened fire. Not all the students were in school yet. It was first thing in the morning, like the time when you allow your kids to go in early for like breakfast and things like that. So the school wasn't full, but there were still a lot of children there. Um, he started shooting. I know that one person already passed and five others were injured. So it was four students and a staff member that were injured before he was taken down.
And they still don't know why he did it, right?
That not only do they have no idea why he did it, but they can't get any information out of him, out of his family, out of his friends, out of anyone. All they're saying, like, as I was digging into this, because it wasn't making sense to me, and anyone that knows me knows that these shootings and stuff hit home for me ever since the Dylan Roof incident down in Charleston, South Carolina. I was there in that area when that happened. So when I see stuff like this, I dig because the whole Dylan Roof thing, when the police left the scene of that from catching Dylan Roof, they took him to get a snack from Wendy's, and so I was digging to find what I could find about Mr. Butler. However, the police can't figure out anything about his motive. None of his friends are saying anything negative, but on top of that,
Mm.
they're saying that he came across this gun legally. So I want to
No.
know. Thank you.
There's
He's
no
17 years
way.
old. You
He's
can't walk in
17.
nowhere and
Yeah.
buy no
They're
gun at
not
17,
illegal.
can you?
No, not when you got to be 21 to buy cigarettes.
That's what I was thinking. And I know that there's like different laws and different ages and stuff like that. But I was pretty sure you at least had to be 18 to get your background check ran for a gun.
And you do.
And I know that there's states where you don't have to register your gun. Like I live in Georgia. And if you know Georgia, our gun laws are like the best. We can conceal carry, we can have a gun without having to register it, but we still have to have a background to get the gun. I can carry my gun anywhere I want to go at any time, and I don't even have to tell you about it. I just
Hmm.
can't buy it without a background check. So, y'all are trying to tell me this 17-year-old legally got his hands on a gun. Well, if he legally got it, who bought it for him?
Right. Nobody ain't talking because you know that that's illegal and they don't want to get in trouble. So ain't nobody gonna
Well,
confront
somebody
that.
better talk.
Yeah, he couldn't have gotten illegal.
And I'm sorry, but that 17-year-old could y'all dumb if y'all don't think that boy he finna flip on somebody. When they tell him how long he going away for, he about
Hmm.
to rat on everybody. You better step up now and tell them, hey, I bought it for him for his 17th birthday because I wanted him to learn this, or because he was being bullied, I wanted him to feel safe, or whatever the case or story is. You better step up now because if not, in my opinion, that's obstruction of justice and accessory to the crime.
Right. So that makes me want to do more research to find out the legal ages, for um gun carrying in that state and conceal weapon
You know
permits and
what?
stuff. Because
Let's
that's
ask.
ridiculous that they say put it out there that he acquired that gun legally.
Let's ask. Hey, y'all, we just gonna ask. How old do you have to be to purchase a gun in Iowa? Iowans. I didn't even know they were called that. I've always wondered what you would call someone that lives in that state. Apparently, they're called Iowans. Um, Minimum age to purchase and possess guns in Iowa. All right. Iowa law prohibits any person from selling or transferring a long gun or ammunition for a long gun to a person who's under 18. Iowa also prohibits any person from selling or transferring a handgun to anyone under the age of 21.
See, so how did he not even 18, so
Hold on, because it goes on. And now I think we're about to have the answer. These restrictions are subject to certain exceptions. A parent, guardian, spouse age 18 or older with another with the express consent of the minor's parent or guardian. Oh. Um can possess a rifle or shotgun and ammunition for lawful use. That is telling me that either his parents bought the gun or
hmm
his parents signed off with permission for
hmm
him to have the gun.
right. What kind of gun was it?
So I don't think it ever tells us, but
They probably did it so he could have a rifle to go turkey shooting or hunting or something, not to go to the school and shoot it up.
and now just so you know, this was just a new update. It literally just came onto my it's telling me that it's now people who were wounded.
Mm.
It was a shotgun.
See, that's a consider, yeah, a long gun, a shotgun or rifle. And he probably got the
Okay.
shotgun for turkey shooting or some type of hunting activity that he
And he probably
had
got it right
access
there for
to.
Christmas.
Hmm.
See? You know your kids so well, right? Because I'm sorry, but I wasn't a bad kid, but I wasn't a good kid. But regardless how good I was, or how smart I was, or how good my grades were, my parents was not fixing to hand no teenager with multiple emotions and things like that. A gun.
Hmm.
You
Nowadays
know,
it's different.
growing up, my parents didn't even have a gun in the home. I say that, but I really don't know because my parents, I didn't go in their bedroom or nothing like that. I don't really know for sure. I would honestly ask my mom and see if she'd tell me the truth. Did you have a gun in the house when I was growing up? But I don't think they would have because, you know, I I had mental health issues, and clearly this child did also.
Hmm.
Um
Just seeing.
So my biggest thing that I just want to rest on everybody's mind, and I'm gonna ask you your opinion on this, Sheena. Do you think that parents should be charged with anything?
Yeah.
What do you think they should be charged with? Just like giving him the gun or
You know
accessory to
what?
the crime prior to the fact?
Yeah, I'm about to say accessory, neglect,
Yeah,
anything along
and
those
is the
lines.
neglect because of like them not
Being
paying
more
attention?
responsible. Hmm.
Right, right. Because clearly he had some kind of issue, and maybe I didn't know that. I don't want to say because my parents didn't know what was going on with me until it was way too late. Um,
Or even
but
monitoring. They not even, they got it for what reason? No, it's not for a school shooting. You got it for what?
right,
Hunting? And why are you not monitoring those activities?
right, right. Yeah. Why are you letting your kid walk out of the house with a shotgun
If he's
or
not
or a
going
pump
hunting.
action
Yeah, or
gun? I don't.
yeah. And if you're, if it is for like an activity like hunting or something like that, then why do you have them, why is it out when you're not doing that activity? Why does he have access
Which
to it?
makes you wonder what kind of house he lives in. Like, do you just walk into his room and he has like a gun to the left and his bed to the right, or
Right.
like
Like, why do you have access to it outside of the activity?
now you, Sheena, have a 15-ish year old.
Hmm.
Um, would you ever get Adam a gun?
No, not illegally.
No,
No.
and I don't mean illegally. I mean like because like there they say at 17 you can have a gun if your parents and guardians sign off on it. So like you and I know personally and I don't Sheena believes in guns. She does carry, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's not like she's against guns or anything like that. So her answer is not going to be based off that. Um, but would you buy Adam a gun if he came home and said, "Hey, I want to get into shooting turkeys"?
No. Well, you know what? I would have like one of those rifle, little 22s. You know, those little hunting people know what I'm talking about. The little baby pellet ones, and
Okay.
he can practice with that. I have allowed him to use one of those in that type of event, but that was during that type of event. I had possession of it before we got to the event. He did the event with the instructor, with the trainer. He knows how to use it. And then after the event is over with, you give it back to me and it goes back into the thing. You don't need it outside of the event. So before we
Thank
even
you.
pull off or get back in the car, it's it's out of your possession, and then you don't have access to it. So that's why I'm like, but for him to carry something for protection, yeah, when he gets of age, he can take the concealed weapons permit class, get trained, and carry something for protection. But for you to be out here irresponsible is not something I'm staying for.
And with that being said, you know, I am not an anti-gun person, okay? I'm anti-stupidity. Um I believe in the gun laws. Um but I don't think they're strict enough by far. I'm happy I live in a state where they're very free and very open. But again, I don't think the gun laws are strict enough by far. Too many
No.
people are able to get their hands on them. And when I was growing up, when I was in school, these kinds of things were not an issue. Our schools were not getting shot up. If some dude brought a gun to school, six of us met him in the hallway and whooped his butt.
Mhm.
Like, dude, stop being stupid. No. Or, okay, whatever, you're getting bullied. Get over it. This is high school. We never had a fear of losing our life before we got our diploma at the school. We had that fear outside of school in the streets, where we out running around like crazy people.
Yeah,
But you're
because what we
supposed to have
did
that
was
fear
fight.
in
We
real.
had an issue, or you had an issue with
Right.
somebody, you fought, or
Meet me at recess
you
or
meet
meet
me
me at
after
3 o'clock in the
school
parking lot. Yep.
on the corner or something, and you do get out and you fight, you go home. So,
Right.
but
And whoever
now,
lost, everybody talked about you for a couple of days and then it
hmm
was over.
right, or you came back to redeem yourself, but
Right. Listen, I know a couple of people that fought like 5, 6 times before it was finally done because they just kept coming back. Cause no man, they got that one up on me. I'm gonna hit them again on Friday. I mean, y'all been fighting every week, man. It's like a saga. Uh,
right. But see, kids back then had more backbone. I'm sorry to say, they had more backbone back then. Now is
mhm.
everything is too soft.
Everything is offensive and hurt your feelings. And
Hmm
listen,
So
we
you
was
have to
drinking out of
go.
water hoses, dodging snakes in the summertime, just because our mama and them was telling us to go play outside because we couldn't run in and out their house no more with the
Yeah.
AC on.
I don't think they know how to process their emotions or their feelings to the point where they even realize that taking a life is permanent. That
Agreed.
person is not coming back. Like, and by the time they realize it's permanent, they already did the action. It's already done.
And let me ask you this because you just said it. Whose fault is it? And I'm not, your situation is different because your son Adam is a lot different than these kinds of people that we're discussing. Um, but whose fault is it, in your opinion, that these children these days are unable to process those emotions? Because I think it goes right back to the parents.
It does. It goes right back to the parents and how you instill and how you raising these kids. Like, but most of these parents nowadays, they have a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna, I guess, sugarcoat it for the parents, but or give an excuse, I should say, for the parents because they should take um accountability to raise their own kids. But a lot of these parents, they got a lot going on. They working. They stressed about finances, trying to keep food on the table, clothes on the back, and they're letting their kids do whatever. A lot of these parents, they don't even check homework anymore. You know,
So
they got too
and
much
listen,
to deal
I
with.
I'm no one to judge, but I don't like to check homework and I don't like to be responsible for other people's emotions. So I do not have children.
Hmm
It's that simple. Like, and I'm not knocking anybody. It is what it is though. If you are not responsible enough to take care of the life that you create, you
hmm
should not remain the parent.
But some people, I mean, some of these parents out here working two, three jobs just to make ends meet, and they have no idea what their kids is up to or how their kids are feeling.
Oh yeah, no, I know because and I'm not talking a bunch of trash or saying anything bad, but my stepson was raised in a household where that's how it was. His bio mom had no idea the things that her kids were always doing because she was working 2 and 3 jobs as a single mom, taking care of 3 kids to
Mhm.
make sure that she could hold things down. And it wasn't, I don't have anything ill her because she did the best she could as a mom, to make sure that her kids were fed. But the flip side is her kids got so deep in and so far up at some points that she couldn't bring them back. And because that my stepson has become the victim of society that he has, and it's not even his fault. but it is his fault at the same time. And he feels the same way. If you ever ask him, he will have the same exact conversation because we've already had it, and he'll tell you, like, he messed up. He knows he messed up, but he messed up because he was backed into a corner.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a sad, sad world. Sad,
It's
sad world.
sad,
Um,
sad, and
when it
a
comes to
cycle
that
that
stuff.
needs to be broken.
And it never will be broken. It's only going to get worse. And it's only going to get worse until they start holding more than just the child responsible for the child's actions.
Mhm.
If you are held responsible for your children's actions, I bet you'll know where they're at and what they're doing more. The same way that they used to hold parents accountable for truancy. Like when I was growing up, I remember my parents having to go to school with my sister because she kept skipping school. And a truancy officer was like, listen, you can't keep skipping school. We're going to make you come. So it's one of those things where if they would hold parents accountable for what their children do, they know more of what their child's doing.
Right.
So now I'm not sure if we discussed this before, but our current event morning coffees are only going to be about 30 to 45 minutes long max. So we only brought in two stories today. We have talked about the shooting. We want to end this morning's first podcast with a feel good story. We will always end every podcast
What a
with a story
feel
that makes
good
you goes, yay,
story.
hearts.
I think I did it right.
Yes. Your heart was an
Yeah.
8.
My heart is
Put your
retarded.
put your
Yeah.
thumbs down.
Oh, like that. There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that did it.
That's it. So, oh wait, so if I do mine on this side and you do yours on the other side, does it make
Oh,
a heart?
hold on. Yeah. If I get line it up, I'm not coordinated.
Y'all don't
It's too
make fun
early
of
for this.
our little broken heart.
Right. Our little heart is special.
All right. So our feel good story this week comes out of, I believe, Utah. Yes. So in Utah, on I think it was January 4th also. It was January 3rd or 4th. There was a mother and her two children crossing a street, and there was another lady. And if anyone's ever driven first thing in the morning, as that sun's coming up, it has that like blinding thing that
Hmm.
you can't see in certain areas. I know I
Hmm.
have that problem. There's no way I'm the
It's
only one.
sunset
So,
too.
there was a lady driving and complete accident, but she ended up hitting this lady and her children. Well, once she hit them, of course, she freaked out. The car wouldn't work. And then this lady and her two kids were trapped under the vehicle. Well, a group of teenagers saw this happen and they ran over immediately and lift this car up to pull this woman and her two children out from underneath it within 3 minutes, y'all. And I don't care what nobody says. I can't even get my significant other to get up out of bed and get ready in 3 minutes.
That was
I
amazing.
can't. I can't get anything done in 3 minutes in my household. So the fact that all of these teens thought, knew, and acted within 3 minutes to get this car off this lady and her two children is one, the most phenomenal thing I've heard of.
See,
Two, has anyone ever tried to pick up a car? They are heavy.
you think?
I mean, my car is not that heavy, but I drive a Versa, guys. It's like the size of my thumb.
It's like a
Um,
Hot Wheel. It's like
it's my little Hot Wheel.
a
So, but cars are heavy and they picked this car up and they got this lady out. She is still in intensive care healing, but she's going to be okay eventually. Of course, there's going to be scars, there's going to be damage, there's going to be physical therapy. She was hit by a car. However, miraculously, her two kids walked away with a couple of scrapes and bruises, no internal injuries. So,
Yeah, she probably
should
took the brunt
this
of it because that's the mom protected her kids, and she
right,
took
right.
she took the brunt of the hit. That's what I would have did.
Gosh. I know I mean I would have done that with anyone I was with too, just because that's who I am as a person. But miracles happen
Mhm.
because that could have gone so much
So much worse.
worse.
It could
And
have.
if they had been at that under that car for much longer, she could have internally bled out.
Mhm.
Those kids could have eventually had. Now I can tell you that another reason I feel like, and this isn't me like taking up for anybody, but another reason I feel like the kids weren't hurt as bad is because kids are a lot smaller.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, kids can actually slide up under a car anyways.
Right. And wasn't a kid like really young, like 2 or 3?
Yes, yes. I forgot their exact ages.
I thought I
Let me.
remember seeing something around. I know they were
I
really
know.
young, so
Yeah,
they
they were
probably was
two
like
and three.
small. Yeah, so they was really small. She probably could have protected them, together with her body. I'm not sure. I'm
Well,
not
and the car
saying
that
how because she's big,
hit them in
but
slow motion. Like I was reading about it. Like so they were like in a parking lot like at this Christian academy. She was taking her kids into the Christian academy. So she was walking across the parking lot like walkway for people to walk in. And this lady like hit her in slow motion. She was going like 25 miles an hour and hit her in slow motion. So it's one
but
of those
see
things
that
where
that's
sorry
that
y'all, I'm not trying to
sun.
laugh. I'm
No, because I mean, I can understand how it's like a total accident because when that sun is blaring, you
mhm.
can't see a thing. And like that happened to me, like taking Adam to school, like when the sun comes up, like you can't. And like I will pull into the parking lot in the drop off line, and I can't see the car in front of me. I can't see a kid's thing. And what I'll do is I'll stop, like I'll slow all the way down until I can see, and then I proceed to the drop off line because you can't not see, and sometimes you're in a bad spot.
So I feel like I'm about to sound dumb. And I don't want to, but I need to
It's
know
the
this.
way, it's the way you said it.
Um,
Okay, go ahead and ask.
okay. So, I'm a human. And when I want
Understood.
to block the sun, I put on like a hat or a visor. And you see like the
Mhm.
shadow I just made, how it kind
Yeah.
of like blocks the sun from hitting my eyes. So we
Hmm.
can't put like hats on the cars. Like they don't have something you can like put that comes out a little bit off the windshield to block that sun from hitting our eyes like that and doing that to us. Like would it is it because we drive so many
I
miles per
think
hour and it could like come up or something like
I
there
think it excuse the region, like you can't, and it might do something to your peripheral.
if it's above though, like cuz your
I
peripheral
don't
doesn't look
know.
above.
That's a good question.
Is it though? Cuz I feel like I sound like a dummy right now. Like
No, that's
somebody out
like,
there is
will
going,
that really
"Ha ha
work?
ha, that
I need
doesn't
an
work for
engine.
this."
Yeah, an engineer needs to message us and see because we're silly
Yeah, because
females,
listen,
so
if
we don't
and listen,
like.
we talked about it on this podcast first. So if anyone steals our
Hmm.
idea, we gonna sue you because we talked about it on January 6th,
Yeah,
2024 at 7:37 in the morning.
I just need a 10%. I mean, we can juggle. I can take eight. You know,
Yeah,
eight
we'll each
percent.
take eight. And that
Mhm.
still leaves you like 84%.
Mhm.
We're not evil or mean. We're just
Right.
need our cut.
But you
But
can.
I
I'm
really think
thinking like,
about
cause
that.
I'm a visual person, so I'm really like thinking like, how would that look with the car with the visor?
So
Like,
like with
how does that really?
aerodynamics, would it like would going like 70 miles an hour with a car, would that like
Make it like lift off the ground? Will it be too much
like
air
a
pocket?
flying car? So I didn't mean
No,
like
because
that. Like
no, because it might cause an air pocket.
well see, and that's what I was kind of just wondering. Like,
Because then, cause you know how if the wind blow too hard, your car is moving, like so it might cause an air pocket for it to like move the
all right,
car.
y'all. I'm not no artist, okay?
You do.
I drew something just now. I'm not no artist at all. But like this is what my brain was just thinking, right? Like, okay, here's my car, y'all. Hold on, let me get it in the camera. All right, so here's my
That
car.
car
I
with a
know it.
baseball cap on.
And
this
so because that's
is
my
what I
idea,
was
like
thinking.
like
Now
if the car
now we
like
in here
this
drawing.
if the car like this, why we can't put something over the front windshield right there like that, like a little baseball cap or something for your car. When we could get it in sports teams. Like, you can get you a Dallas Cowboys car hat, and that'll block the sun from doing that in the morning when you're driving.
So this is what I thought you was talking about. Like,
Oh, good. She drawing too, so now I don't feel bad, y'all. I don't know if Sheena's a good drawer either, so I hope she's halfway as bad as me so that I don't look as stupid. But but my that's kind of my wondering is like, is it because of aerodynamics so we don't have car hats?
look at my car.
Listen, your car looks
So
better than mine.
so
Um,
I thought there was like a visor coming out to block the windshield, and I
so
was
that's
like,
kind of what I meant, but I just wanted mine to be a hat, and I don't know why I really wanted it to be an Orioles hat, and I guess that's just because I grew up with a dad that was an Orioles fan. But so
we
my
just
brain
got
was just seeing a hat on top of the car.
we just opened up a new market.
We did. Hey, y'all, we need an engineer. If you have an engineer friend, I need y'all to send them to us because we are launching this tomorrow on TikTok.
Right.
Um,
Get a hat for your car.
right, car hats. I
Hmm.
mean,
Perfect for blocking
oh,
that
if we
sun.
could call them CHATS, shats. No, we're not going to call them shats. Never mind. Um, we'll come back to the name. We'll come back to the name. We'll work on that later. I don't know. I just said that on a podcast. Okay. I'm a little embarrassed. Um anyways, so
It's early. Sip your
it
coffee. It's
really
okay.
is. I need some coffee, more coffee. My current cup is empty. Oh no, it's not. I have a sip. Okay, so car visor hat things. You can call them toppers. We can just call them car
Okay.
toppers.
Any engineer out there that want to partner with us, email us. We're ready to give
Listen,
you.
we came up with the idea. We can help you
Hmm.
with the styles and the designs. We just need you to tell us how to make them and to
Make it
install
work.
them.
Hmm. It could be
And
attachments.
listen, and you know what? Someone go ahead and just tag Elon Musk in this because, I know that he's trying to push that whole electric car thing. How
Hmm.
cool would it be to have an electric car with a hat?
Right. It could be
So
like an
just tell,
add-on. You be at the deadership. I want chrome,
right.
some tint, and a hat.
You get add-ons anyways. You be getting fog lights and power wheeling. Why
Hmm.
power wheelings? Power windows. I don't even know what a wheeling is.
I don't think that's real. I think you just made that up.
You thought I was intelligent right there, right? Power windows. Why not be like, yeah, let me get that package that includes that car hat.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
listen, I
pink
would
or
pay for
blue.
that.
Yeah.
I would because that way you're not blinded. So, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end our morning coffee with the
The
Maries right
Marines.
there on
Yes.
a very positive note that Elon Musk should definitely contact us immediately regarding
Hmm.
our car toppers. Um, and now I need to Google and see if that exists before I patent that idea. Um,
Right. Trademark.
right? That's and like I said, we got proof that when we talked about it. So,
Hmm.
um,
It's recorded.
right. So, but we will be back here, of course, next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. with new current events to discuss,
And more
um,
coffee.
and an update. Yes, definitely more, way more coffee. An update on how we're doing with our car toppers. Apparently, now that we've created this trend.
Right.
Um,
It's going in
but
production. 2024.
right. Um, but if anyone does have something they do want us to talk about, we would be more than happy to talk about it. Just shoot it over to
Hmm.
us either on our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitch, right here at Riverside or yingyangthepodcast.com. You can also hit up either Sheena or I on our personal pages, and we'd be more than happy to respond there also. Until then, Y'all try to have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you live tonight at 8 p.m. for Ying Yang the podcast.
Hmm.
Y'all have a great Saturday.
Bye.